Good evening, and we begin at 5 with a new investigation that describes emotional abuse and sexual misconduct as systemic in women's soccer. The report also alleging the Portland Thorns interfered with that investigation and an inquiry into sexual abuse allegations against a former coach. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molka.
And I'm Laurel Porter. This surrounds former Thorns head coach Paul Riley, who players said harassed and sexually coerced them. Mike Benner joins us with a closer look at the investigation's findings. Mike?
Yeah, tell you what, Laurel, there is a lot to unpack here, and that's why we have uploaded the more than 170-page report onto our website for people to read. In the meantime, I can tell you that a team of lawyers led by the former Deputy Attorney General of the United States, Sally Yates, examined allegations of abuse in the National Women's Soccer League, and they, did this for months, and they found that sexual and verbal abuse, even emotional abuse, is a systemic issue in the league, and it spans multiple coaches, victims, and teams, including the Portland Thorns. In fact, we're learning that officials with the Thorns did not act in good faith during this investigation. A lengthy investigation into the National Women's Soccer League revealed that Portland Thorns officials interfered with access to relevant witnesses, and the team raised misleading legal arguments in an attempt to slow the entire process. Perhaps that's not terribly surprising, considering the Thorns were one of the primary focuses of this investigation into the soccer league. It has a lot to do with allegations of sexual and emotional misconduct against former Thorns coach Paul Riley. We've reported on that in the past. Riley is accused of sexually harassing some of his players and time after time making unwanted advances. The investigation revealed that as early as 2014, the Thorns were alerted to Riley being verbally abusive, sexist, and destructive, among other things. But Riley wasn't fired until a year later. In 2015, Riley was terminated for violating his contract and committing gross negligence. But publicly, the team simply said Riley would not be retained, and they thanked him for his service. In fact, Riley went on to land a new job with another team just months later. And listen to this. The investigation indicated that front office staff with the Thorns gave Riley a ringing endorsement despite the sexual and emotional misconduct allegations while leading the Thorns. NBC News spoke with the reporter from The Athletic who first reported on the alleged misconduct last year.
Did the silence enable the abuse here?
100%. The silence absolutely enabled abuse, but the silence enabled the cover-up of the abuse for about a decade as well.
All right, the months-long investigation by the international law firm also revealed inappropriate comments by Thorns owner Merritt Paulson, team president Mike Golub, and former GM Gavin Wilkinson. We reached out to the Thorns for a statement on all of this. They said they are still digesting and reading the report. They'll pass along a statement at some point, and as soon as we get that, we'll pass it on to you. For now, back to you in the studio.
Mike Benner reporting. Thank you, Mike, tonight. Let's talk about an especially violent 24 hours in Portland with 4 separate crimes that left 4 people dead. The first was early Friday morning when a man was shot and killed in southeast Portland on 148th between Burnside and Stark Streets. A suspect was arrested in that case. Then on Saturday morning about 1:20, a second deadly shooting, this time near Northeast Sandy and 162nd. 1 man was killed. No arrests have been made. Now, in the same time period, there were also 2 deadly stabbings in Old Town and just blocks away from each other. The first before noon on Friday by Burnside and Northwest 3rd. Then around 8:30 that same evening, the second fatal stabbing, police arresting suspects in both of those attacks.
The Portland woman already accused in several disturbing incidents recently has been arrested again. Police say 54-year-old Terry Zinzer broke into an apartment in Northeast Portland last Friday and went to sleep in one of the beds. We spoke with a resident who says his mom was the one who made the discovery.
At first, she thought it was my sister, but then discovered that it was a random person, a random woman in her bed. She yelled at them to get out, then realized that it was better to just leave the apartment and call the police. I would say it was a pretty distressing situation for everybody involved, and definitely not the kind of thing that you expect to come home to.
Zinser was arrested on burglary and assault charges. You may also remember her from this surveillance video. It shows a similar situation from earlier in September where Zinser is accused of breaking into a home and climbing into a child's empty bed. No charges were filed in that case. Then nearly 2 weeks later, she was arrested again for theft and disorderly conduct just days before the most recent break-in. That makes 3 arrests in September alone. Court documents say Zinser has 28 criminal cases ongoing in Oregon and 0 convictions. She was also scheduled to appear in court today, but refused. Officials said forcing her to go would be dangerous to both her and staff. She remains in jail and is not eligible for release.
What a saga there. Well, let's get to our homeless crisis tonight. And with Election Day 5 weeks from tomorrow, we have reached out to the leading candidates for governor to get a better sense of their visions to tackle one of the biggest issues of our time. So today, Blair Best sat down with Republican Christine Drazen, and Drazen said she believes the solution to this crisis starts at the state level. If elected, she will declare a, quote, homelessness state of emergency. Drazen added that she'll also work to repeal Measure 110 and that her first budget will put more tax dollars toward mental and behavioral health services. Now, here is part of that conversation.
On your campaign website, you say that you're aiming to make homelessness rare and temporary, while some of your competitors are aiming to get rid of it altogether. Why is it that homelessness won't be going away under your leadership?
Yeah, the approach to homelessness, I think, needs to be an approach that's long-term. There are no magic bullets to, in some cases, the human condition. And we have programming right now within the metro area that local jurisdictions have adopted that I'm really strongly supportive of. And that program right now is called Built for Zero. And the concept behind this, it really is that they are able to better understand who's on their streets and better understand what services and supports they need to transition from being houseless to being fully stabilized and able to, contribute to their own lives and their best future again.
And the full 14-minute interview is up right now on KGW.com. Tomorrow, we're going to hear from unaffiliated candidate Betsy Johnson. Next week, Democrat Tina Kotek. And speaking of the homeless crisis, Portland fire officials say a large fire sparked at a camp this afternoon. This is near Northeast Lombard, south of PDX. The flames downed power lines and they also spread to nearby bushes. No word yet if anybody was hurt.
Today, Portland City Commissioner Mingus Mapps unveiled his plan for changing the city's government. It's different from the changes that are already on the table and up for vote this November. Mapps' alternative proposal would divide the city into 7 districts and each would elect just 1 council member. That's different from the city charter proposal that's on the ballot, which would instead divide Portland into 4 districts with 3 council members each. Mapps also wants to give the mayor veto power. A recent DHM research poll for the Oregonian found the majority of those polled backed the city charter reform idea.
The last time Portlanders had charter reform on the ballot was 2007. And at the time, about 2/3 of Portlanders said that the city was headed in the right direction. Now about 1 out of 10 Portlanders think that the city is headed in the right direction. So this is an opportunity for them to vote on something to change the direction of the city. And they're anxious to say yes to something. Over 60%, I think it was 63%, initially said, yeah, I'm interested in saying yes to this ballot measure.
Both Mapps and the city charter proposal endorse leaving administration to a new city manager position.
Well, this evening we are taking a closer look at one industry that is hit by staffing shortages. There are so many, but the need for more veterinarians and vet techs to care for our animals. Bryant Clerkley is in the newsroom. Bryant, there is a new training facility that is in the works at Portland Community College right now, hoping to help ease that gap.
Yes, David, this will be an extension to the school at the Rock Creek campus, getting people real-world experience because a veterinary technician is like a nurse. Clinics cannot function without them. Right now, PCC graduates about 30 techs each year, and they hope to increase that with this new facility being built next year.
It is all the experience plus more. So not only do we have labs on campus, but we also have 3 clinicals that we have to do while in school.
Here at Portland Community College's Veterinary Technology program, students like Mary Rose Gilliland are getting experience with all types of animals. She just started her 2nd year of the program, and she's set to graduate in 2023. Mary Rose understands she's going into a career with a huge staffing shortage.
You have to do it for the animals, so I understand the implications that come with it. Luckily, this program, one of the big things that they did first coming in as a first year, they talked to us about compassion fatigue and burnout.
The program is looking to expand, with a new barn being built to house the animals students work with. It's set to be done in the fall of 2023. The program takes 2 years, and students graduate with an associate degree. After that, they take a national exam, then become certified.
There's not enough staff to work in a clinic now, then the burden of care falls on the rest of the employees that are in the clinic, and those employees start to burn out and feel like they're overworked, and then they leave the career.
Dr. Borzik says the pandemic took a huge toll on the veterinarians and vet techs. There's a lot of backed up appointments. She says the goal of the program is to get more technicians in the workforce.
That is our goal. Continue graduating technicians that are ready to go out and do the job and do a great job with it.
Vet tech jobs can start anywhere from $25 to $30 an hour, and the PCC program is one of only 2 in Oregon. Laurel?
Much needed. Thank you, Brian. A Portland food company is giving back to the Hispanic community for Hispanic Heritage Month. The owner will be helping other Latino entrepreneurs expand their business. Daisy Caballero joins us now. Daisy, this is a company a lot of people might already know about.
Yeah, Laurel, that's totally right. And we're talking about Brazzy Bites. You know, the little cheese bread bites in the frozen food section of grocery stores and Costco? Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. And for the first time, the founder tells me that they announced a $10,000 grant program to help other Latino businesses. The owner created the Brazzy Bites Latino Entrepreneur Accelerator program. This is where she and her team will pick the winning applicant and award them a $10,000 grant alongside a 12-week mentor program. All this to help mentor another Latino-owned business.
Representation is important across the board, to know that you can be in a leadership role, that you can run a company, that you can do it. You know, people that look like you, that sound like you, that have your background, it just gives you that confidence that you can achieve, more.
And the application process is open right now and will close a little later this month on October 28th. We'll have all the details and a direct link to the application on our website.